Ladies and gentlemen, they call us weak because they have never seen how hard we fight without fists, how deep we dig without shovels, how long we survive in storms without shelter. They look at our calm and mistake it for surrender. They see our patience and confuse it for fear. They hear our silence and think it means defeat. But what they don't know is that every second we stay quiet, we are sharpening our minds like blades, storing our pain like fuel, building an unshakable wall brick by brick from every insult thrown at us, because we don't scream to be heard, we rise to be seen. We don't bark to prove we bite. We strike only when the time is right. And the truth is, the world is terrified of those who don't show off their power, because hidden strength is the deadliest kind. They call us weak because they measure strength in muscles, not morals, in noise, not endurance, in dominance, not discipline. They see us walk away from conflict and call it cowardice, but they don't know that walking away takes more courage than throwing the first punch. They call us weak because we choose to think before we act, to build before we break, to heal before we hurt. But let me tell you something, they have never seen what happens when we finally get tired of being underestimated. They have never seen what happens when the quiet one stands up, when the humble one says enough, when the broken one stops bleeding and starts burning. Because that's when the real war begins, not outside but within. And the battlefield is not made of guns and grenades. It's made of doubt and fear and regret. And we fight with grit, not violence. We win with focus, not fury. And they'll never understand this kind of war because they were never built for it. They were born loud, handed comfort, raised in ease, praised for little, feared for nothing. And so when they see us suffer in silence and still smile, still show up, still help others, they get confused, they panic, they mock what they can't match and laugh at what they don't understand. But let me be very clear. Being called weak by the world is the biggest blessing in disguise, because the moment they count us out is the moment we start counting our victories silently, slowly, surely. And while they brag about battles they never fought, we carry scars they'll never see, from wars they wouldn't survive. We are the ones who lost everything and still gave, who had nothing and still built, who were broken and still believed. And if that makes us weak, then may we always be weak, because there is power in patience, greatness in grace, and magic in endurance. They call us weak because we forgive, but they don't see how hard that is. They call us weak because we cry, but they don't know how much strength it takes to feel deeply in a world that celebrates numbness. They call us weak because we fail, but they don't realize that failing and still moving forward is stronger than succeeding and staying still. And I want to say this to every soul who has ever been laughed at, left out, talked down to, told they can't, made to feel less. Your weakness is your strength. Your pain is your sword. Your struggle is your superpower. You were never meant to be understood by those who've never walked through fire. And yes, they'll keep talking, keep pointing, keep doubting, but let them, because while they talk, we train. While they mock, we master. While they rest, we rise. And when the time comes, they'll look up and wonder how we got so far. And the answer will be simple. We didn't quit, we didn't break, we didn't need them to believe in us, because we believed in ourselves, even when it hurt, even when it was lonely, even when it didn't make sense. We believed, and that's what made the difference. So the next time someone calls you weak, smile, because they have no idea that they just lit the fire that will melt every wall in your path. No idea that behind your silence is a symphony of storms. Behind your patience is a lion waiting to roar. Behind your calm is a legacy being built. And when it's done, they'll have no choice but to respect what they once rejected, to honor what they once ignored, to fear what they once laughed at. And that, my friends, is the sweetest kind of victory. Not revenge, but transformation. Not proving them wrong, but proving yourself right. So stand tall in your so-called weakness. Wear it like armor. Sharpen it like a blade, because someday soon, they'll see what we've always known. That weakness isn't falling, staying down, and we never stay down. We rise every single time, stronger, wiser, louder in action, quieter in ego, built from the ground up, forged in failure, fueled by doubt, unstoppable, not because of the world's permission, but because of our own decision. And that decision is this: we are done waiting to be seen, done hoping to be accepted, done asking for permission. We are here to rewrite the definition of strength, to turn pain into purpose, fear into fuel, scars into stories, weakness into greatness, because the truth is, they only call us weak until we win, and then they call us legends. They said we were too soft to lead, too broken to build, too lost to be found, too scarred to be trusted. But they forgot that the diamond is made under pressure, that the phoenix rises from ashes, that the strongest trees grow against the wind, and we are not the storm that destroys, we are the fire that forges. We are not the weak they pity, we are the warriors they can't understand. And let me tell you something else. They measure power by how loud a man shouts, but real power is how quiet you remain when the world is trying to shake you. How still you stand when chaos demands movement. How calm you stay when you have every reason to scream. Because discipline is not weakness, it is mastery. And control is not cowardice, it is command. And if they think restraint is failure, then let them speak, because while they waste energy trying to prove they're strong, we reserve ours to show. We're unbreakable, and they call us weak when we take the long road, when we wait for the right time, when we don't fight fire with fire, but fire is blind, it burns friend and foe. And we choose precision over destruction. We choose wisdom over war, and they don't get it because they weren't built to last. They were built to impress, and impressions fade, but purpose endures. So let them keep talking while we keep walking. Let them keep doubting while we keep doing. Let them keep pointing while we keep rising, because the moment they realize we were never weak, it will already be too late. We'll be too high to hear their noise, too far to feel their reach, too strong to need their approval. And in that moment, they will remember every time they called us weak and wish they had known that quiet souls build loud legacies. They call us weak because we bend, but they never notice we don't break. They see us fall and assume we're finished, but they don't understand that falling is part of the rise, that greatness isn't born in straight lines, but in broken paths. And we have walked through fire barefoot, swallowed pain without flinching, and held on when it would have been easier to let go, and they still think we're weak, because they've never had to climb out of the dark with nothing but hope in their chest. They've never fought battles that left no bruises, but carved stories in the soul. They say we're weak because we cry, because we show emotion, because we wear our hearts where the world can see them, but they don't realize it takes strength to feel, to keep your heart open in a world that tries to shut it down. It takes courage to care. It takes guts to stand up when it's easier to sit back, to try again when every bone in your body says quit. And we are not the product of comfort. We are the result of pressure, of trial, of fire, of long nights with no sleep and heavy burdens we never asked for but carried anyway. And still they say we're weak, because they don't know what it's like to survive when everything inside you is breaking, when every day feels like a battlefield and you're fighting without weapons, just your will, just your belief, just that whisper in your soul that says, don't stop now. And I'll tell you this, weak is not the one who falls. Weak is the one who refuses to rise. Weak is the one who hides when it's time to speak, who runs when it's time to stand. And if we bleed, it's because we're alive. If we tremble, it's because we care. And caring in this cold world is an act of rebellion. It's a declaration of power. And we are not ashamed of our scars. No, we wear them like medals, like proof that we didn't die where they left us, that we didn't stay broken just because they walked away, that we became more because of what we went through, and less because of what they said. And every moment we were called fragile was a moment we were building force, because strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Keep going when no one else believes in you and they don't see the way we hold others up while no one holds us. The way we smile when we want to scream, the way we move forward when every step hurts. But that's the difference. We've been through storms they couldn't imagine, carry weights they'd collapse under, and still we rise, still we breathe, still we love, still we dream, and the louder they shout, the more silent we become. Not because we have nothing to say, but because we know action speaks louder than ignorance, because our silence isn't surrender, it's strategy, it's patience, it's power under control. And we are not who they think we are who we choose to be, forged in fire, raised in resilience, and destined not just to survive, but to lead, to elevate, to change everything. And by the time they finally open their eyes, they'll see that the ones they called weak were the ones rewriting the future in silence. They watch us walk through fire and still call us weak because they only see the flames, not the footsteps. They hear our silence and assume defeat, but they don't realize silence is the sound of strategy, the sound of sharpening swords in the dark, preparing not for attention, but for legacy. And let me tell you something, they think we don't fight back because we're scared, but fear has never been our enemy. It has been our companion, our teacher, our motivator. It's what kept us awake when dreams tried to die, what pushed us forward when motivation failed, what reminded us we're still alive, still in the game, still breathing in a world that tried to choke the life out of us. And every time they laughed at our struggle, they planted seeds of greatness in us. And those seeds, watered by tears, fed by pain, lit by the flickering hope we held onto in the dark, grew roots deeper than pride, stronger than their insults. And now we walk not to prove them wrong, but to prove ourselves right, because the real war was never about proving our strength to them. It was about remembering our worth when no one else did. It was about building from nothing, climbing from nowhere, and standing up without applause. And the truth is, they only see part of our story, the visible chapters, the polished parts, the victory speech, but they missed the pages soaked in struggle, the nights we bled into our pillows, the days we had to smile with shattered souls, the hours we stood tall on trembling knees. And we never needed them to see it all. We just needed them to see us now, unbent, unbroken, unshaken. And if you still think we're weak, then you've never known what it means to be strong without recognition, to be kind in the face of cruelty, to walk in integrity when shortcuts promise success. Because we've been tested by time, by loss, by failure, and we wear that test like armor now. And the battlefield that was meant to break us became the ground we built on, and the enemies who tried to destroy us became the fire that forged us, and the hate we were fed became the fuel we now run on. So laugh if you must, doubt if you need to, walk away if you can't understand, but don't be surprised when you see us rise. Don't be shocked when the ones you ignored are leading the way, when the voices you silence become the ones the world listens to, and by then it won't matter whether they believe in us or not, because we will already be written in the sky, carved into history, and etched into the hearts of those who dare to keep going even when the world says stop. Ladies and gentlemen, they can try to bury us under their doubt, under their judgment, under their fears of our potential, but they forgot that pressure doesn't destroy diamonds, it creates them. And what they tried to crush only made us clearer, stronger, sharper. So now when we walk with fire in our footsteps and thunder in our breath, because we know who we are now. We know what we've endured, what we built in the dark, what we built for in silence. And we no longer chase validation from those who never saw our worth, no longer wait for permission from people who fear our greatness, no longer shrink so they can feel tall, because we've outgrown the cage they built for us in their minds. broken every lock with every setback, turned every no into a lesson, and every closed door into an open path they didn't expect us to find, and we are not asking anymore. We are claiming what is already ours, stepping into the light we created with our own hands, fueled by our own fire, born of our own struggle. And when they ask how we made it, we'll say we made it because we refuse to quit. We refuse to die small. We refuse to let their fear of us become our fear of ourselves. And now we speak for the voiceless, walk for the weary, rise for the fallen. And every moment they called us weak, we were becoming unstoppable. And that right there is why they fear us. Because we did not need to destroy them to rise. We just needed to survive long enough to see ourselves clearly. And now we're not trying to fit in. We're designed to stand out. We're not here to follow. We're here to lead. We're not asking why they underestimated us anymore. We're showing them what happens when you bet against the storm and forget that the storm was born inside us. And so to every soul who's been called weak, who's been left behind, ignored, laughed at, broken down, and doubted, I say this: stand tall now, because your time has come. Your silence has ended. Your scars are your story. Your pain is your purpose. Your fire is your future. And no one can stop you anymore, not because they won't try, but because now you know who you are, and that changes everything.